We also wanted to discuss another lesser-known aspect of this story, how U.S. taxpayers are underwriting Mylan's corporate profits. Now joining us to discuss this is Richard Phillips. He's our Senior Policy Analyst at Citizens for Tax Justice. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So it's been pointed out that in many cases, taxpayers are picking up the tab for Mylan's profits because many of its users are covered by the government-funded Medicaid program. But that only really scratches the surface of the story. Talk about why Mylan moved its corporate headquarters to Netherlands in 2015 and what this means for how it's taxed and how much money it pays in corporate profits to the U.S. government.
Well, so Mylan is one of the several corporations that have done what's known as an inversion, where a company basically or a U.S. company basically pretends to be a foreign company for tax purposes. So while they may make all their the medicines here, while they may actually operate here and be managed and controlled here in the United States, for tax purposes, they say, oh, actually, we're controlled in the Netherlands. And so what that allows them to do is never actually pay taxes on the profits that they earn offshore. And to boost their profits offshore, they often move the intellectual property behind things like the EpiPen or other pharmaceutical products to their offshore subsidiaries. They basically make the U.S. subsidiary pay their foreign subsidiary money to use that product in the United States and throughout the world, and then they can claim, well, all that profit was actually offshore.
Because Mylan does most of its business, it gets most of its profits in the United States. So how is this allowed? How is this, permitted in the U.S. for this to happen?
Well, the reason it's permitted is because Congress hasn't stepped in to take out a couple of these loopholes. And so tomorrow, if Congress wanted, it could pass legislation, which they gave it the really simple name, the Stop Corporate Inversions Act, which would stop corporate inversions. And what it would do is it would say that if a company merges with another company, it has to at least be a 50% foreign company in order to be recognized as a foreign company. Because we've got this situation right now where companies that basically are fully owned by American investors, managed and controlled in the United States, are actually considered foreign companies by the U.S. tax code, and that's just ridiculous. So it could change very simply if Congress made that change.
Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
And for our full coverage of the EpiPen price hike scandal, go to therealnews.com. Thank you so much for joining us.